Hey, Vic, a bunch of questions on Vaughn, but I just wanted to give you a quick one on the social justice initiative released today. How important was it for the players to get that together?
I think it was very important. And I think the best thing about it is it kind of happened organically in that the club wanted to do it. The club really initiated it along with the players getting it finalized, but it wasn't like it was something the players went in and asked for. It was both the club and the players wanting the same thing, and actually the club initiated it all, which to me makes it a very good thing.
On Von Miller, do you expect him to be out for the rest of the season?
There's a chance of that. It's too early to say for sure, but he's definitely out for a while.
Do you have a more specific timetable? Will he go on IR this week?
I don't know that yet. He'll be on IR at some point.
Okay. Can you take us through the play and what happened?
It was just a normal play. He just rushed around the edge and never hit the ground, never looked bad. If you saw the video, you'd think nothing happened, but it did.
Next up, Arnie.
Hey, Vic, not only do you lose Vaughn's on-field brilliance, but he had really kind of doubled down on his locker room leadership this offseason. He spoke about it, you spoke about it, and others. Who do you expect to step into that void, and is that something that you guys will be missing as well?
Well, the whole team has to pick up the void. It's not the player that ends up playing for him. It's not the defense. It's not the offense. It's not the special teams. It's everybody. When you lose a player of that caliber, everybody's got to pick up the slack in all facets, on the field and off the field, in the locker room. And we have a good enough team to do that. If you're a good enough team, you can overcome these injuries. There's countless examples of that over the years. Very recently, very long time ago, anytime you want to look at, there's been these types of injuries that teams have overcome and still had successful seasons, and we want to be added to that list.
Next one, Jeff Lightfoot.
Hey, Vic, do you have a definitive, do you know for sure if Vaughn will surgery for sure? Do you have any more information in that regard?
Not definitely, but I think he will.
Is he
he's in the process of having 2-3 other doctors look at it.
Okay. And then if he had to have surgery, would you hope that happens in the next couple weeks, or what?
I think it would happen sooner rather than later. If within a week is soon.
Next up, Troy.
Coach, then how do you address the loss of Vaughn specific to his position? Does Malik become a starter? You have a Tachu, I know, and do you need to add a veteran to that room just to protect yourself, knowing that Chubb might be on a bit of a play count?
Yeah, it will be Jerry and Malik. They'll share it. That's what happened last year when Bradley went out. And, it'll be those two guys primarily getting the sharing those snaps. Who ends up starting, who ends up playing in what packages will be fluid. But it'll be those two guys. I wouldn't say it's one guy.
And with Chubb, it can't change how you look at that, right, with him?
No, absolutely not. And I told him that today already.
Next up, Mike Kliss. Mike, your line's unmuted.
Okay. Any concern, Coach, about, just the attitude, morale of the team? I mean, there are injuries, and then, Vaughn is the face of the franchise here for the last 5 or 6 years.
My concern is you've been doing these Zoom calls since the pandemic hit, and you still don't know when to unmute yourself.
That'll never change either. I apologize.
What was your question? Oh, the fake.
Just the morale of the squad, a concern there.
Hey, I mean, just my own personal feelings were, I was sad when it happened for a lot of reasons. One, mainly for Vaughn, because Vaughn has had a hell of an off season. I kind of reiterated that to you guys many times. I didn't see him, obviously, in the off season, but I talked to him a number of times in the off season, And, you know, when you don't see some with your own eyes, you're hesitant to believe or buy in. But I could just tell by the way we were talking, the things he was doing, that he had a mindset that he was going to come out and have a hell of a season. And when we finally did get back together, it was true. And so I'm sad that he's not going to be able to get the season that he worked for, because it would have been fun to watch for me, for him, for you, for everybody. So on a personal basis, as it relates to Vaughn, I'm sure everybody's sad and disappointed for him. As it relates to our team, yeah, we're disappointed. Anytime you lose anybody, you're disappointed. But we will move on, okay? And we will make it work. We lost Bradley last year. You know, an equal player at the same position. And we played our best football after that. And that's not because we didn't have Bradley. We just kept developing as a team, and we compensated for him. And we have a better team this year overall. So I expect this to still be a good team without Vaughn.
Next up, Brandon Cristal.
Coach, do you have to do anything extra to get the team refocused, to boost morale, or to remind them that, hey, we've got a job to do? Or do you think
No, I mean, I talked to them today, you know, in the team meeting about it. And, you know, you have to acknowledge the loss. You have to acknowledge your sadness on a personal level, you know, but we can still go out and play winning football. And we talked about that today, and we'll move forward. Never forgetting Vaughn, obviously, and hoping that he returns at some point this year. And the good thing about his injury is once it's healed, it's healed. It's not one of those where he'll have lingering effects.
Next, we have Teron Davenport from ESPN Tennessee.
Good afternoon, Coach. My question is in regards to Jarrell Casey. How much does having a veteran like that, that's a leader, how much does that help just kind of make up for the loss of Von Miller in your locker room?
Well, Jarrell's had a big impact since he's been here, especially since we've started camp where guys are together physically, of, you know, with his experience and his knowledge and his production over the years, to really being a big help to the other defensive linemen and sort of mentor them along the ways, throw his 2 cents in, that things he's learned throughout the years, a pointer here and there. So he's been very, very valuable in the defensive line group, okay? And that spreads to the other defensive players too. So in that case, you know, he's been very, very valuable.
Guys, we've got time for a few more. Next up, Eric Dalala.
Coach, want to go back to some of the other injuries. How did Bradley and Graham and KJ look yesterday at practice, and what do you expect them to do today?
They all did fine with what we allowed them to do yesterday, and we hope to have them do a little bit more today and see how it goes.
Will Barron go today?
No.
Next up, Zach Stevens.
Vic, do you expect Bradley Chubb to continue to progress and be there for week 1? And you said you talked to him today about not forcing anything. How do you make sure that he doesn't?
I'll be able to tell. We've talked about it enough. Plus, I'll watch the video of practice, and we'll be able to tell, and he'll tell. We've had good conversations about it ever since camp started. So, you know, it's not something new that him and I are doing.
Last two, Kyle Newman and Michael Spencer. Kyle, go ahead.
Hey, Vic, so what do you think Jeremiah Tashu and Malik Reed? I mean, obviously they've had experience in this role, like you said, stepping up for Chubb last year. What's your confidence in them to, you know, immediately be thrust in with Vaughn out?
Well, I have confidence in them that they're going to be able to play to their abilities. Okay, neither one is Von Miller, but they are who they are, and all we need for them to do is to do their job to the best of their abilities. And if they do that, we'll be fine.
We'll end here on Woody Page. Go ahead, Woody.
Nick, what's the most significant thing from starting last season as a rookie head coach to being a second-year coach this year that you think you've learned in that year, both on the sideline and in preparation for the opening game?
Well, you know, this year has been so different with the COVID protocols and the no-off season. that I didn't feel like there was a lot of carryover from year one to year two because the schedules were so drastically different. So I didn't feel the carryover that I think you're trying to allude to. As far as being on the sideline, are you referring to me being on the sideline during the game?
Yes.
I'm fine with that. I felt more comfortable as the season went on with that, and I'm good down there. I don't feel that it's a problem.